Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? And welcome back to the channel. Today, once again, we have some more Third Age Reforged content. This time featuring the Witch Realm of Angmar, played by me, and Rhudaur, played by the Warlord. This is a bit of a themed battle insofar as it is Rhudaur are holding at a mountain pass and are trying to meanwhile, Angmar are trying to break down this defense and subjugate the Rhudaur people. So basically, this is before Rhudaur become a fell nation and start being forced to worship the Dark Lord Sauron, and basically be his allies and everything. So we'll go through the army comps quickly. Well, not quickly, it'll probably be about 10 minutes or so. But once we've done that, we will get on with the battle. It's only 16,000 frames long, and 2,000 of those are already taken up. So it's not that long a battle, so there shouldn't be that long a video, but if it drags on a bit, I apologise. But anyway, so as I believe I've told you a couple of times, I don't like putting my general in my most elite unit. Quite often I put it in a low tier or mid tier unit. And if I have a unit of archers, that's the unit I always go with. But anyway, enough about that. My most elite unit here, probably at least of infantry, is the Witch Realm Hammer Guard. These guys, 2 hit points, AP, highly armoured, huge damage, huge DPS, albeit they only have 63 men in the unit. These guys will get a ton of kills. If these guys are supported by the right units, it will just be a bloodfest and they won't really stand a chance. Or should not stand a chance. And behind those I have 5 units of Angmar Marauders. Not the lowest tier unit, but certainly not a high tier unit. Probably about the second or third worst infantry unit for Angmar. The worst being Snarl Stalks, of course. And then maybe Orc Fellows. So either Orc Fellows or Angmar Marauders that take the next worst position. But they're a decent light infantry unit. They can get some kills if they're supported with stuff like Trolls or the Witch Realm Hammer Guard. You see that. And I have plenty of Trolls and Witch Realm Hammer Guards, so these guys should get the support they need. These guys, they're just a nice cheap unit to bring, and they're decent at holding, decent at dishing out damage, probably getting about 50 kills, 50-60 kills a battle, depending on which enemy we're up against. Then 2 units of Guardians of Khan'Dûm, just base, and then 1 that actually has my general in it. These guys just my mainline infantry unit, 163 men in a unit, very strong, heavily armoured, nice big shields. They'll be protected from missile fire. Good, mainly focused on their defensive stats, but ultimately they will get a lot more kills than these Angmar Marauders. I'm thinking about 100 is probably where you get good value for your money. If you get more than that, well, that's just brilliant. And Angmar Halberds, basically the lower tier phalanx for the Witch Realm of Angmar. AP, of course, as all halberds are, albeit shorter than pikes. So if they go up against pikes, the pikes will ultimately come on top. But I've prepared for many events, and of course they suffer from spear malice, so they don't do that much DPS, although it is armor piercing. And in behind them I have 2 units of Witch Realm pikemen. Basically they have all the strengths of the Angmar halberds, only like much stronger, much more armor, much longer stick, albeit they don't have armor piercing. They can do a lot of damage, and they don't suffer the same malices as the Angmar halberds. I mean, they still suffer the spear malice because classified as heavy infantry. So just one of those spearmen. But anyway, they still suffer the spear malice, which means much less damage than infantry units. But they don't suffer the they have a much. They can go toe to toe with pikes basically, whereas these guys they'll struggle because they're shorter pike basically. Then I know you've seen these 4 units that are just up here. 2 units of Orc Fellows just for the AP and the ability to have some units up there and hiding from the start. These guys should get about 100 kills, of course, that's going to be more than them. That's mainly just going to be because they can do more DPS. But they will die a lot quicker. And over here, Scenario Stalkers. I'm not really expecting them to do much, I just bought them because I had 100 for them spare. And, I mean, just upgrading armor or swords is not worth it. Getting another 500 bodies on the field, however, that can get 20-30 kills if you're lucky. Any kills these guys get against the eliteness of some of what Warlord has brought is basically paying for themselves. And I also have a ballista, just the artillery point of view. And you may have noticed this is my only missile unit in the army. And that's true, that's because I meant to rush him, but I have the ballista just to give myself a bit of a chance. And of course I have the Trolls of Angmar and the Trolls of Gundabad. Very elite monsters. I say they're monsters, but they're classified as heavy infantry. In this, carry either maces or spikes, knuckle dusts, I guess. And they can just dish out a ton of damage if they are given the right support, which is a ton of numbers, which, guess what? The Angmar Marauder supply. So everything I've done has been carefully thought out. Now over here is Warlord's Rhudaur army. He has 2 units of Etamors, Troll Hunters. Looks like they're in shield wall formation. Certainly looks like tight enough to be that. Also might just be that formation. These guys, javelins predominantly, and then spearmen in melee. They have a nice big shield on their backs, they can form shield wall, and they will dish out a lot of damage if they get their full payloads off and then get into melee. So they're pretty solid in melee as well. Albeit they have the spear malice in melee, and so do a lot less damage than stuff like Guardians of Khorne Doom. Then it looks like he also has two units of Rhudaur Clansmen, but a third one over here. I mean, this is probably their best spear unit. Pretty elite spears, to be honest, albeit very little armor. They're lacking in the armor department, and therefore will easily get shot up. But fortunately for them, they have these giant shields. And I mean, I like what Warlord's done insofar as he's put them in shield wall. It means that they're a larger hitbox. Like, I can hit all of this. But their shields are so compact that chances are they're all going to go into the shields. And then, 2 units of Rhudaur Marksmen here. Basically, nice, cheap archers. They'll get some kills, but probably not too many. They'll get more kills against stuff like Sniper Stalkers and Orc Fellas than they will against stuff like Guardians of Khorne Doom. So they will need to pick their targets wisely. And in the centre, he has a unit of Rhudaur Nobles. Very strong shot cav, 2 hit points. Did he put his general in there? No, he didn't. But they can easily rack up a good couple hundred kills during a battle, purely because of that extra hit point and that solid charge moves. Then the Coldfell Maidens, Rhudaur's Jav Cav. basically all the power, all the solid, no, all the damage of javelin with the mobility of horses, very damaging, and they're decent when they have to charge into melee after using up all of their payloads. And it wouldn't be a battle without another piece of artillery, so he's brought a catapult. It'll probably get some sort of solid kills, unless I can shut it down some units. Which Robin Savers, another multi-hit point unit for Rhudaur. I mean, you can see that from the fact that he's brought two multi-hit point units. We only had 13k funds each anyway. And he's probably spent about 3,000 of that just on these two units. So of course he's only going to have 10,000 to spend on the rest of his army. And that's going to be about 1,000, so about 9k to spend on the rest of his army. It looks like he spent it wisely. And here he has two units of Rhudaur Dunman pikes, and then two units of Rhudaur swords. Solid pike units, very cheap pikes even, and pretty solid for the price that you pay for them. And then the Rhudaur swordsman, just pretty solid line infantry, solid armor, solid shield, and decent melee attack. He's done the right thing here with putting these guys in front to soak up the charge and the missile damage, while his pikes can just keep my forces at bay. But without further ado, let us begin. So instantly, soon I'm gonna start moving up and getting into my formation, which is basically putting a couple of units here, namely my halberds here, just to stop their cav from getting through. I move my pikes and infantry and other such stuff over there, as well as my Witch Realm Hammer Guard that I charge straight in to these Rhudaur clansmen. That he is, and he's just sending these guys, all of these guys, just here to protect this troop. What he doesn't quite understand is that I've got some orc fellows just hiding here, ready to strike. What I probably should have done is just rush these guys in, put them there, and then when his Rhudaur marksman got ahead, charge in and cut down his missile and just destroy his missile capabilities. Still keeping these Snarga hidden, as I am doing with these orc fellas. But as you can see, I'm moving the majority of my forces over here, and these halberds, I'm going to set one unit up here, or somewhere like that, and the other unit here, maybe there, just to prevent them from getting through unscathed. And I'm just lining up these Witch Realm Hammer Guard, ready to charge into this one unit of Rhudaur clansmen. I mean, I probably could have gone round, but where's the fun in that? And of course, he's going to be spreading out his formation now, similar to like this. And basically, what these Witch Realm Hammer Guard are faced with is trying to smash through the street. And that's just what I'm sending them in to do. And these guys, 203 before the charge, straight down to 184. And of course I'm sending in this unit of Angmar Marauders. Unfortunately, my orc fellas are going to start getting focused down by these guys. As you can see, the balance of power is hugely in my favour. But these Angmar Marauders are now in the fight. And what they're doing is just making it... Sorry about this. is just making it so that my Witch from Hammer God are dishing out most of the damage. As you can see, these guys, they are going down so quickly. 145 men now. And you can see that these Witch from Hammer God, now that they've been supported by some Angmar Marauders, they're just not dying. Because most of these 129 are going to be focused towards the 200 Angmar Marauders, rather than these 63 Witch Realm Hammer God. And these Witch Realm Hammer God are getting all of their damage off onto these Rhudaur clansmen. Unfortunately, he's going to be reinforcing with another unit of Rhudaur clansmen just before I can chop through these Rhudaur, this really depleted unit of Rhudaur clansmen. Ah, yes. And these Rhudaur marksmen, can you believe it? They're firing over this cliff into these Angmar Marauders. I mean, I'm definitely happy with that. It means they're getting less kills on my Hammer Guard and actual useful units. Like I have my pikes here also. But I mean, here, all I need to do is punch through either here or here, right? Or here. Basically, I just need to deal with some of these guys. Whether or not I deal with the cav, whether or not I deal with the infantry on this side, or whether I deal with the infantry on that side. I just need to deal with some. Of course, he has his Esmore Troll Hunters now, just firing into the side, and this is where it all starts going wrong for me. Because my most elite unit is just getting shot up by javelins. Instead of dying in the honourable death in melee, killing guys, they're just getting shot. And the reason this is such a huge problem is they were on 63 before these guys started shooting. Now they're on 36. That's a huge problem. And of course I still have these, I'm sending in some orc fellas. I'm just trying to pivot these guys around here and get them into the Troll Hunters. I'm just going to put this onto a 0.8 speed just to make it a bit less framey. And as you can see from what I'm doing here, I've just managed to make it so that they can't get through this. You know? Like, this cav, yes, it can start jabbing them. But if I can get some Snarger just in there to stop these guys from getting jabbed. I mean, of course, I don't do that at first. But when these guys actually start dying, that's when I realised, yeah, it's probably a good idea to stop these guys from getting shot. And then, of course, if he manages to weaken one of these enough to get through, that's when it's not looking good. I'm moving up this ballista to about here, just to shoot into this big clump here. And of course I have a unit of Angmar Marauders, I have some Trolls. What I really should have done was committed some Trolls in. If I committed, let's say, this unit of Trolls over here and just decimated these guys, that would make my life so much easier. But unbeknownst to Warlord, I was sending this unit of Angmar Marauders and a unit of Trolls over here. But I was hiding them in the woods, of course. And he was moving his ballista, he was moving his catapult even up here to get a much better shot into the rear of these guys. Just moving it up there so you can shoot these guys, maybe shoot a lot more stuff. Of course, I see that and I decide, probably might be a good idea to just get this thing out off of the field. And these, you can see the Coldfell Maidens now. They're out of ammo. So they charged in and got a grand total of fair amount of kills. Given that. But as you can see, well, these Coldfell Maidens, they costed 800 compared to the 50 of the Snarl Swords. And I mean, yes, I see a lot more dead Snarger than I see dead Coldfell Maidens. But you can see that they've charged into these guys. These halberds, almost no casualties. And now these Coldfell Maidens, they're getting butchered. Where I lost 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 now. Like, they're getting decimated. And they didn't even manage to kill that many Snarger or halberds. And he took them from 60 all the way to 32. Of course, there's still the Rhudaur nobles that I have to worry about. And I just chase off with the Trolls Gundbad before deciding, might be an idea to charge into these. And do you see what I was saying? Like, he moved this catapult up here. And so, yep, you guessed it. Here come the Trolls of Angmar. They're just charging straight into these guys, like, without a care in the world. And basically, I'm just trying to put these guys out of business. We're down to 55 men already. However, over here, let's see what's happening. I've got this unit of Orc fellas here. Some Witch Realm Pikes. Some Guardians of Conjuring. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. He has some Pyrannodime Rangers hidden here. At least they were here at the end. He might have like had them here and then brought them round. And then just left them here and shot into the side of these Orc fellas and other such units. But now I'm slowly but surely getting some work done, chopping through these guys. I managed to get these guys. Either they've run out of ammo or I managed to get them into melee, but there's still this unit of Eternal Troll Hunters that is firing into my men. I mean, they've done a lot of damage. Yeah, so I only have one unit of Angmar Warriors left here. I mean, yes, I have one unit here. And one unit up there, but that's still 2 units of Angmar Warriors I can see. There's another one here. I'm slowly but surely chopping through these Witch Realm Sabres. And that's going to be a big problem for them. Mainly because of the Trolls DPS, but mixed with these guys, it's literally 47 men against far more. I'm just moving these guys up here. Looks like he has, yeah, left a unit of Rhudaur clansmen back here, which is smart, just in case I felt like flanking around and going straight into his back lines and destroying him pretty much. Ah, now I can see them. And here we can see the Rangers just releasing their payloads into these guys. You can see just how much damage these guys have already racked up. That's a lot of kills. There's still 7,000 frames left in, so I'm not going to show you how it went. But fortunately for us, we managed to get these archers in melee. in melee combat. Got these guys in melee combat, but of course there's still this unit. And it's not used up all its ammo yet. Yes, it has. No, it hasn't. So that unit's still got ammo. And, like, I'm actually really starting to run out of units on front line. And these Guardians of Khan Doom have just got decimated. And yes, I still have this unit and this unit. And I also have my pikes. But this is a waste. I should have noticed this before. Of course, I was focused on microwing over here. And, like, I just have to keep these guys safe. There's still the Coldfell Maidens and the Harandai Nobles there. And I'm just getting ready to deal with these guys. And we have some nice, juicy artillery volleys. There's going to be a lot of toasted gunmen today. Of course, I'm actually just fighting through these guys. Down to 23, I have 10 trolls and 64 Angmar Marauders left. These Angmar Marauders, they have been decimated. They're so low. But ultimately, these Witron Sabres, we managed to get rid of 1,300 worth of funds. With probably about the same. Apart from the fact that we haven't actually lost all of those. They still have the Rangers just doing what they do best. Shooting you and you don't even notice. That's the problem with Rangers. You don't notice them until you see the damage that's been done on your units. And like, look. 49 Guardians of Khan Doom. As well as vastly reduced numbers of pikes. And yes, I'm chopping through these guys, right? But what you're forgetting is he also has a whole unit of Javies. And I mean, yes, I'm slowly getting through these guys. They're down to 70. And these archers, they will get decimated. We will chop through them with very few casualties. But he also has the cavalry here that he's just charging into these goddamn Snaga. The Randine Nobles, they've lost one man. And the Snaga, they've probably lost about 100. So it's not looking too good for the Snaga today. And I've had to commit everything. And it's saying the balance of powers are evenly matched. However, if I can just get rid of these Witron Sabres. If I can just get rid of these guys. And then charge into the river. These guys could lose. And in fact, it's already saying they're losing. But with the committal of the Haranadine Nobles, will that change things? So, I mean, they are just running through these Snog. And they're getting into my forces. And now it's saying they're going to win. Of course, they still have these Rhudaur marksmen. I mean, they're not low on men. And now I'm actually starting to notice... Wait a sec. And of course, at that point I find out that he also has some black balls hidden in the trees. And yeah, at that point things didn't look too good for me. So I was slowly but surely chopping through these guys. That was good. I was surrounding all of these archers. They were most likely going to rout really quite soon. But then, again, there's also these black balls here. And if they charge into the rear, that would spell disaster, right? And, like, I just wouldn't have them rout. Somehow my, somehow some of my Witchron Hammergod is still alive. He still has these 123 Etimos Troll Hunters. and these rangers are just chopping through my guns, can't do them like a hot knife through butter. Albeit they are losing a lot of men as well. But they've lost 5 in the time these guys have lost 4. So yeah, things aren't looking too good for them. And wait, there's something. Yep, as you can see, they are just finishing off my guys right now. But here come the trolls. There goes his general. And I just sent my trolls into the rear just to hopefully do some solid damage. And ultimately, they will do some pretty solid damage. They will get a lot of kills. But because they took so much damage fighting the Witch-Rom Sabres, they won't really be able to do much. And I reckon the Witch-Rom Sabres are actually going to win it. No, they're not. I mean, they've got these guys down to 12 men. In fact, he might actually win. If he stops getting hit and actually gets a blow, then he might actually win. Yep, there's 1. There's 2. And there goes that, and down goes 1 more of these Angmar Marauders. Of course, at this point, things aren't looking too good. Because he just got these Rhudaur nobles around the flank. And of course, I have to worry about these Black Ones. And they're still beating all these Orc fellows and Angmar Marauders. Well, I just try and deal with these Rhudaur clansmen that have just been brought up. So, I mean, yes, things aren't looking very good for me. Even though it says they're evenly matched. I know they're not, because a charge in the rear from Rhudaur nobles is not exactly what you want for your Orc fellows and Angmar Marauders. In fact, wait, no, that's not them. Especially now that Rangers are open. These guys would not win at the best of times, and they're certainly not going to win now. And we're not even winning up here. We have far more men than them, and they're winning. But not anymore, but still. I mean, like, that's probably because I still have those 3 which are on Hammergon that are just going to be doing God's work. And now these Orc fellows and Angmar Marauders have just been decimated. I'm still trying to move these Angmar halberds back. Of course, that's left my Ballista open to attack. And these Coldfell Maidens are happily butchering it. Down to 46, these guys down to 28, 27. So they're still losing Coldfell Maidens. But it's a lot better for them than it is for me. And of course, they're going to be manning. Yeah, that which Roman Slaver survived, which was obviously going to happen. And they've won over here, albeit at a great cost. Probably about probably about an 1/8 of what was originally there. And of course, there's still the Rhudaur nobles. These guys are probably going to rout really quite soon. These Angmar Marauders are shaken. So, I mean, like, my morale is not really holding up, apart from up here. Where we're slowly but surely losing to these guys, despite these guys being partially surrounded. These guys are partially surrounded, they're being flanked. It's much worse for me because, yeah, I'm having to send these Angmar Marauders up, leaving these Orc fellows isolated. I mean, I could send these Angmar halberds up, which would probably be the best idea if I just sent them up here. Because they would probably do quite a bit of damage to these Rangers and Blackpoolers, of course. These Etymore troll hunters there getting destroyed. And now I managed to finally flank these Rhudaur clansmen, albeit with 54 trash men that I've been fighting for ages, and chances are we'll be routing shortly. And now the Rhudaur Rangers, they've managed to get in there, as have the Black Bulls, they managed to fight their way through. Of course, that extra hit point for the Black Bulls will have helped them get through it. And so I sent my Angmar halberds in there to flank, and right now everything over here is just a mush pit. However, ultimately, even if I did win here, I still have to deal with like 100 pikes and all of these guys and more cav and the Rhudaur nobles, of course. These Coldfell maidens. Catapult you wherever that is. That charge into the rear will pretty much spell disaster for me. These guys, they're getting chewed up. These guys slowly but surely dying, albeit it says that they're going to win. Really quite unfortunate for me. But ultimately, they just have enough men for them to be able to win this. Like, they have 2 units of swords, about 150 swordsmen. And there goes my general, which will certainly not help things. Of course, that which runs Saber. And 100 odd Dunman pikes. And what you get is something not very good for Angmar. These guys fighting to the death. These Rhudaur nobles have pulled through. And a lot of these guys are just fighting to the death / routing. Some of them are still fighting. But all of these guys, they just don't stand a chance. Because at this point, we are actually outnumbered. Like, he still has 23% of his forces, while I only have 10% of mine. And him getting these guys there certainly won't help matters. And it ends up with a couple hundred of my forces getting surrounded and ploughed into by the nobles, which is not fun for anything. Yeah. So basically, at the end, it was a tough battle here. Like, I definitely shouldn't have gone into this. I mean, I reckon that if we looked here, predominantly the bodies would actually be orcs. Oh, let's just head back. As you can see, I still have a small portion of my force remaining. But ultimately, it's just these guys. They're all surrounded. These Guardians of Khan Doom fighting to the death. As you can see, I still have the 3 Witch Realm Hammer Guard that are still doing good. They're still doing some damage. But I mean, Warlord definitely deserved to win this. I made far too many mistakes, and I was led off on quite a few of them. Of course, one such thing was getting shredded here. Going into melee here, should have just stayed here. Maybe brought a couple of units of archers instead of the Snarger. Maybe you just brought Snarger archers instead. And just baited this cav to have to come in. And once I didn't have to deal with the cav anymore, that's when I should have gone in and instead of just committing all over here, like splitting my force, what I should have done is then flanked with these guys over here, just gone round here and rushed into the rear and broken them. However, I did not do that, and it looks like that is it. Yep, they're all celebrating. Okay, so, I mean, I still killed quite a few. You only had 700 men remaining, or 600 if you look at this. Not even. 540 odd. So, I mean, like, he lost quite a few men. As did I, of course. I mean, these Guardians can't do. This is a unit that got shredded by the range of the course. These guys doing pretty well. Witcher Pikemen doing pretty well. As did the Angmar Halberds. Stalkers exceptionally well for how much they cost. And Angmar Marauders actually doing pretty well for themselves. Apart from this unit, of course. I assume that's the one that went up against Cab and stuff. Then Witcher Hammerguard, of course, doing God's work with 500 odd kills. And Blister with 209. That was insane. That's the one time I've ever used solid artillery, like actual good artillery. Of course, these Witcher Pikemen also capturing some guys. As did the Angmar Halberds and Angmar Marauders. Witcher Hammerguard taking three captives. And the York Fellas, of course, getting some pretty solid kills for their price. But now's the time I should tell you this. I'm going to start Twitch streaming instead of streaming on YouTube. And apart from for the mod dev streams, them I'm going to be streaming on YouTube. The main thing I'm going to be streaming on Twitch is going to be Total War gameplay, maybe some Battlefront 2, Conqueror's Blade, just live gameplay, mainly campaigns if I'm doing Total War, but of course some custom battles or multiplayer battles mainly if I do custom battles. But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're new around here, like the video if you liked it, feel free to leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy it. But anyway, thank you for watching and see you next time.